Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Unprecedented.
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 Well, these are unprecedented times.
I'll tell you what's unprecedented. Mailbox money for life.
Welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement with best-selling author and fiduciary Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it, get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
As we record this show on April 20th, 2020, there has been an infiltration of the coronavirus, and one particular word in the media keeps popping up over and over again. And no, actually, it's not COVID-19, but the word unprecedented. Now, it's interesting if you think about this term because you don't use it much until now. So let's define, before we get into the meat of today's show, the definition of unprecedented. It can mean a previous instant, never before known or experienced, unexampled or unparalleled, such as an unprecedented event, which I think is safe to say that this COVID-19 and the reaction to it has been unprecedented, and also just the way that the government has stepped in to literally shut down the economy is truly unprecedented. So let's face it, not in my lifetime have I ever seen anything like this. Not only a stock market correction and unemployment at all-time highs, but literally the government shutting down a lot of our basic freedoms and our ability for many of us to go to work. But just as unprecedented as this shutdown is of our lives, there are also 4 other unprecedented events that also occurred, listen, within these first 3 months of 2020. That's right. In total, there have been 5 unprecedented events that may and probably will negatively impact your money and your retirement. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, Mr. Unprecedented, Tony Walker. And today, we've got in the studios with us as we explore this whole notion of the 5 unprecedented events, and more importantly, 4 questions you better ask yourself as we're dealing with these things. We've got in the studio Mr. Aaron Orander, and he is still America's favorite financial sidekick. Aaron, how you doing today, partner?
Hey, good morning, sir. I'm doing good. So you have a new title. What did you call yourself?
Mr. Unprecedented.
New title, huh? I like it.
Well, let me see. I'm going back over my cheat notes. I got to remember what is the definition of unprecedented. Let's see. Without previous instance. There's not been any other Tony Walkers. I can say that, right?
Yeah, I think you can say that. I think
there's one. Unprecedented event. Well, we've never done a show just quite like this one. This is an unprecedented show because I've never done it before. Unexampled, unparalleled. I don't know about that. Oh, well. Okay, I'm going to stick with that for just today, all right? We'll go back to the annuity to king next week. That's okay. So here we are, and we're sitting here thinking about what in the world is going on, and not only just the COVID-19, but these other 4 major events that as a fiduciary, as a retirement planning specialist, I've got to point them out. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off briefly with these 5, we've already talked about the COVID-19, but what are the 5 unprecedented events? And we're going to back it up to the very end of 2019 with the first unprecedented event that was passed into law called the Secure Act. Now, folks, I'm not going to go over a lot of details on the Secure Act. We have a download on the website if you'd like to check it out. But basically, what the Secure Act is going to do, it's going to force your kids to cough up boatloads of taxes on your 401k and all those other retirement accounts that have been sitting there with those tax tumors in them. They're going to force your kids to cough up that money sooner rather than later. You see, currently, or prior to this law, your kids could what's called stretch that IRA out when they inherited it so that the tax tumor could be stretched out over their lifetime. Now, they're going to be forced to take that money out in 10 years. And I got a question for you. With $22 trillion in debt and $2.2 million added on top of it, as we'll see in a minute, what in the world are they going to have to pay taxes on? Who the heck knows? So that's the first unprecedented event. Number two, are you following these, Aaron? I know you're working on the TV show too.
Yeah, sort of. I'm sort of following you.
Okay. I'll bring in if we need more toilet paper or anything. Okay, you can run down
Gotcha.
the hall. All right. Number two. All right. Where am I? The introduction of this deadly virus, COVID-19. Now, folks, again, we've gone over this, but I think it's important to understand the reason this is unprecedented is because a virus has never gotten this type of publicity. Now, Aaron used to be with a large TV station. I know they had SARS and a lot of these others. I mean, they got swine flu, they got publicity, but did you remember anything like this on the news 24/7 in the news days of yours?
No, nothing like this. I don't remember the streets looking like ghost towns, and I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, that's kind of eerie. I wish they wouldn't do that. These networks will go, oh, here's a picture of Los Angeles at 6. I mean, it's kind of spooky. I don't know. There's certain things I'd rather not see to be reminded of how disastrous this whole reaction to this thing has been. Let's see. So the viruses, toilet paper is no longer available. Number three, the government's response to COVID-19. As I mentioned earlier and in previous shows, the last thing any government needs to do is restrict the flow of money through businesses. So folks, we're going to experience, I'm really predicting this. It's looking worse and worse. I didn't think I would say this, but I don't think we're going to hit the depression. Folks, people say, was this the next depression? I mean, the depression was bad, folks. That was the whole banking system collapse. This is different. This is a virus through the reaction of the virus and this pandemic causing the economic system, our engine, to collapse. But again, as soon as people get back to work, I think things will gradually get back. The banking system was done. I mean, at that point, FDR came in with the New Deal and tried to pump it back up. I mean, it took years to come out of that. So hopefully, we're not talking years, but months to at least get back to normal. So hopefully this government reaction hasn't caused so many negative effects that this economy is going to fall into a depression. But seriously, it's got to have some sort of recession accompanying it. You cannot cut off the lifeblood money to the financial body this long. It just ain't going to work. Number four, the economy's response to COVID-19. Last week we talked about this notion of the body needing blood and a predictable flow of blood. You start applying tourniquets to different parts of the body, and although the rest of the body looks fine, parts of those limbs are going to fall off. So again, what's happened with the government's response, the economy does not like the idea of the flow of money being shut off. You cannot do that. Now again, we're not trying to question people necessarily. We're not trying to say, I know you saved lives. This is a financial show, folks. This is not a medical or scientific show. I'm just trying to point out what has happened and in these unprecedented events, what's going on. And then finally, we have number five, and that's the government's response. It's called the CARES Act, and as the government is predictable to do, whenever there's a problem, what do? They print more money and throw more money at the problem. So now we've gone from $22 trillion plus in debt and growing to now over $2 trillion in debt. Heard somebody on the radio today as I was on the way down here, and they said, well, yeah, but our interest rates are down. That's allowing us to pay this debt back more easily. And I said, well, they're just barely paying the interest. But that doesn't help anything. Just because we're keeping interest rates down, that means poor old Joe Lunchbox out here is making 1% on his CDs. So somebody's paying for that, folks. These low interest rates are costing savers a ton of money. And then finally to that last point, the debt situation. Now this is purely speculation. My thoughts are, how in the world are we going to pay this debt off? The only way to pay off this debt, there's only two ways to pay it off. Number one, you have to increase revenue enough to collect the flow of money back, and hopefully that can happen to some degree, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, we already had one of the greatest economies in the world here a year ago, and the deficit still grew. So I just think the debt's too high. Or secondly, you're going to have to figure out a source of funds to tax to death, and in my opinion, my humble opinion, I've been doing this a long time, 35 plus years, the two sources to get that, Social Security, all right, and more importantly, your 401k plan. So things have changed. It's unprecedented times with 5 unprecedented events. So we're not going to leave you just hanging there, folks. I'm not trying to mess up your day, because when I come back, I'm going to show you how to take control of your retirement. I'm going to show you how Wall Street really does not have the answers. The money managers don't have the answers. What you need is a trained retirement planning specialist, and I'm going to help you understand 4 very important questions to ask yourself, or if you're working with a financial advisor, make sure they can document and prove that they've got the answers to these 4 questions. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Are you afraid of running out of money in retirement? In these unprecedented times, I have a simple solution to securing your retirement, one that has stood the test of time and can guarantee you'll never run out of money. It's covered in my latest free download called Understanding the Unprecedented. To get your free download, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Learn how to get control of your finances today. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. We've been talking about, in case you haven't noticed, unprecedented events. Anything unprecedented in your life ever happened, Aaron, that you could say is memorable, that you would want to share with our listening audience? It's not too personal?
Too personal? I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
I was trying to think of something myself. I guess we've kind of got boring lives, don't we?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, all kidding aside, unprecedented, I can't think. Oh, I'll tell you what was kind of unprecedented. Can I? Okay, I got one.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, I'll play a lot of golf. Where I play on this golf course, there's 5 sets of tees. I won't name the course. You know which one I'm talking about. It's a long course. Now,
Right.
I've only played the tips once. For those of you who don't know anything about golf, that's the farthest tees back. So on our home course, the tips are right at 7,300 yards. That's a long way, isn't it?
That's good distance.
Okay. So one day, just for the fun of it, I was walking the course by myself, just having a big time. I love to walk. And I just said, well, I'm going to play the black tees. So the black tees are the next step. So it's still about 7,000 yards. That's a pretty long course from the blacks. But anyway, so I got on, it was hole number 15, hit a pretty decent drive. Now listen carefully, Aaron, because you've seen me play golf. I'm okay, but I'm not that good. I got my little I call it the GAF Viewmaster, those things you look through for the yardage. Okay.
Tells you how far away you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this particular spot on the green the pin was in the back. It's a downhill roll back to that pin, almost impossible to even putt back there. Have you ever played a green like that? It's like, you just try to get it close. You're not even trying to make it. So I get my GAF Viewmaster out. I'm 217 yards away. I'll never forget this. Had a little bit of wind behind me, not much, but that's a long poke. I hit my 7-wood, which normally I can't hit that far, but I thought, well, with the wind behind me, maybe I can get it there. I absolutely cranked that thing. Have you ever hit a shot and you're like, oh gosh, that was a good one? And so it goes, and it's heading for the green. I think, man, that's not a bad shot. It hits the green, starts rolling up, it goes down the embankment, and I take off walking. I'm thinking, well, that's going to be a darn good shot. So I walked, it's a long way. I got to walk 217 yards, and I walk over the little rise at the green, and it goes off the back, and I thought, oh, darn it, I've gone too long. So I'm walking past the hole. Just for the heck of it, I decided to look in the hole. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
Okay, guess what was in the hole?
The ball.
The ball.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, that's par 4. That's an eagle. And I've told a few people that. They said, that almost sounds impossible. I don't know how you made that shot. So I'm going to claim that shot was unprecedented. I'm going to
you
say
were by yourself, is that correct?
Yeah, nobody believes me either.
Okay.
That's my luck. See, to me, that was better than a hole-in-one. That to me was just awesome. So I've never had a hole-in-one. All right, back to you didn't want to hear about my golf game. All right, 4 questions you have got to ask yourself, either if you've recently retired or if you're thinking about retiring soon. Folks, you got to ask these questions, and more importantly, you got to have a retirement specialist that knows how to answer them. If you don't have a written game plan with an experienced advisor that understands this world, folks, you might as well just leave your money in the bank and just live off 1% interest. I'm serious. Why in the world would you want to be out here risking your money and paying all these fees to all these advisors who aren't giving you any planning advice? I really don't understand that. Anyway, here we go. Number 1, the first question, what is it you want? What do you want? And I don't mean right now, I mean in retirement. What does this retirement picture really look like to you? And sometimes people say, well, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that, Tony. And I said, well, that's right, because nobody really cares what you want. They're usually just trying to figure out what's in it for them. No, you really got to think about what you want. Let me give you some examples of this. You might say, I don't want to run out of money in retirement, which I would say, mailbox money to the rescue. We can help you with that. You might say, Tony, I want to be debt-free in retirement. Maybe you have debt. We can show you how to strategically try to get out of debt, at least near or when you first get into retirement. Oh, it's a good story, Aaron. True story. Had a gentleman that retired, last year in the summer. Market was high. And I even tried to kind of talk him out of this a little bit. He said, Tony, I got a lot of debt. I'm retired. He had a large 401k. He said, I want you to go over the taxes. What if I took out, I'm going to make up this number to protect the innocent. What if I took out $200,000 now, plus the income I'm going to need, and pay off my house? His house, was about $140,000. Because I'd already told him if he tried to pay that off, he'd need about $200,000 after taxes to pay off $140,000, right? Because he had a tax tumor. And I didn't think he was serious. He goes, I think I'm going to do it. And I'll call him Jim. I said, Jim, is that really what you, here was the question I asked, want to do? And guess what he said? Yes.
Yeah.
So I said, we'll do it. Now here's what's really cool about this. So we got it while the market was high. We took out $200,000. Of course, we had to pay it's about $50,000 in taxes, which hurt, don't get me wrong. But we paid off the house, so he no longer has a house payment. And the market went down. So Aaron, he got the $200,000 out when the market was high. Pretty smart, wasn't it?
Right.
Because if he hadn't taken it out and the market went down, you know how much the market went down over that period of time? Guess what? About $60,000. Isn't that wild? So the taxes we had to pay, because he's going to pay taxes anyway. I mean, just because the market's gone down, he'd still owe taxes on that. So the way this worked out, this was really a little bit of luck, but it was so cool. So the taxes, he's not going to owe. He paid those taxes on the high side, but now he's got the house paid off, and he doesn't have an account that just tanked $50,000. So that would be an example. Another thing you might want is very little risk. I just got off the phone with a gentleman who's almost 65 years of age, and he's going through this stock market dilapidation right now. And he said, Tony, back in 2008, I could handle it. I knew the market would eventually come back. But he said, I talked to my broker, who's a nice fella, done a good job for me, telling me to hang in there. And I said, you know what? I'm 65. I don't have time to hang in there waiting for this market. And also, I think he just doesn't trust the market anymore now that he's getting ready to retire. So most of my clients, most of them, some of them are okay with quite a bit of risk. Most of them don't want a lot of risk. Some of them say none at all. We can help you with that. What about this? What do you want? I think most people want Aaron to enjoy their money while they still can. This is the theme, folks, with Live Well, Die Broke. The whole concept is to enjoy your money while you still can. Why are you waiting so long to use and enjoy it? And then finally, what do you want? Might be an example of, I want to give more to the kids now rather than leaving it to them when I die. This is the attitude I've taken. I like to give my kids money now. I hope I can leave them something when I die, but I don't know what Susan and I are going to need. But we know we can give them stuff now, tax-free. We know they can enjoy it now, tax-free. Do things they want to do rather than waiting around, sitting around a coffin, seeing how much they're going to inherit from old dad and mom. All right, number 2, what other questions should you be asking yourselves, and what other questions should the financial advisor be asking? What do you need? Now, at first you might say, you just asked that, Tony. No, I did not. I asked, what do you want and what do you need? See, what you want, those examples would be mailbox money, paying off debt, no risk, giving money to the kids, spending it while I can. What you need are the things that you have to have money coming in for. Example, if you still had a house payment, you got to pay that house payment, homeowner's insurance, real estate taxes, car taxes, gasoline, food, clothing, just ancillary expenses that you're going to have. Now, we do have on the website, if you'd like to download, a free spending kit. This is a great little tool, and we've laid this out so that you can lay out all of your expenses. Now, after you do this, a lot of people say, dadgummit, I didn't know I had that many expenses. So this is a really helpful tool. So if you want to download that, go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. In that search bar, just type in downloads. And when you download that, fill that out and give us a holler, and we'll be happy to talk to you by phone, do a video chat. If it warrants us getting together and doing a full income plan, we'd be happy to do that at no cost, no obligation whatsoever. So again, that's found at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's see, look at my cheat notes here. What do you need? First of all, you got to think after tax. And you got to think about a lot of the taxes. This is going to sound a little contrary to what I just said. A lot of the taxes and things you were doing prior to retirement, you're not going to do. For instance, I always use this example. Let's say while you're working, you don't notice you're doing this, but you're having to pay about 7.5% of every dollar you make to what's called FICA or Social Security. You're putting that away. You'll never see that again until you retire. Well, when you retire, you're not paying that tax anymore. Same thing with federal taxes. Some of you right now are going to be probably in a little lower bracket when you retire. May change, but at least lower for now. Some of you won't owe state income taxes, local, occupational. A lot of that stuff goes away. So you got to think after tax. What do I need after tax? And we can help you with that. Okay, in the essence of time, let's take a quick break here. Let me get my thoughts rescheduled here and rethought out. We got 2 more questions. When I come back, 2 essential questions to ask yourself and your financial advisor during these unprecedented times. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Are you afraid of running out of money in retirement? In these unprecedented times, I have a simple solution to securing your retirement, one that has stood the test of time and can guarantee you'll never run out of money. It's covered in my latest free download called Understanding the Unprecedented. To get your free download, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Learn how to get control of your finances today. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. You recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Talking at the break with America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Orander. So, Aaron, we had a good little discussion during the break. Going back to this whole thing here in the last month or so, of course, we're recording this show, folks, on April 20th, 2020. So, hopefully this thing will be lifted by the time you're watching this show. When's this show probably going to air, Aaron? Probably 2 or 3 weeks out. So things are changing so quickly. But you had a good point. What has been, in your mind, so unprecedented about this government closure of things?
Oh, that there's just no end in sight. I mean, nobody really knows when this stuff's going to be completely over. And I'm not talking about just the virus, but I mean just the economy getting back, stores opening back up, being able to go sit down at a restaurant again. I mean, just a lot of this stuff, there's just a lot of uncertainty up in the air right now.
And I'm not opposed to the masks. I understand that. But I'm sorry, if I'm sitting in a really, really nice steakhouse eating a good steak and I'm looking around and half the people have masks on, is that going to be very appetizing to you?
Nah, I don't think I'd be going there.
No, I'd be like, wait a minute, is the food? I mean, I don't know what, whew. I'll probably just stay home. We have been doing a little bit of that. We've been ordering stuff online, pretty nice stuff, and it ships and it's pretty good. I'm pretty good with the grill. So anyway. All right, here we go. Back, in the essence of time, let's jump on this. We have 2 more really, really critical questions to ask yourself, and this will usually expose whether you're dealing with a money manager or a retirement planning specialist such as Tony Walker Financial, because most money managers, to my knowledge, don't know how to answer these questions with anything logical, with a written game plan. They usually answer it with, well, you just got to leave your money in there and hang in there. That's usually the answer when we have volatile times like this. So question number 3, let's go back over them. Question number 1, what do you want? Question number 2, what do you need? Question number 3, how much do you have? We have to be realistic, folks. Some of you, not all the time, some of you come to me and you go, hey, partner, I want to retire next year. I'm burned out. And okay, I'm with you. What do you got to work with? Well, I got $50,000. Oops, that's probably not going to take you very far. So we have to be realistic about what you have. Now, with that said, a lot of what we can deal with are the taxes. A lot of what we can deal with is maybe trying to provide some mailbox money. We can look at your life expectancy of your family. We can look at when to maybe draw Social Security. Maybe take it earlier than you originally planned. Maybe help you understand the 3 halves of life. In the 3 halves of life, it's interesting with that concept. Many people keep thinking they're going to spend more and more as they get older, and that's just not the case. So through our income planning software, we might be able to show you why you may want to spend more money now rather than later and still have plenty of money that you don't run out. We can show you how to do that. So again, that's how much do you have, and a trained retirement specialist can help you with that, such as Tony Walker Financial. And then finally, I think this is the key question. It's the key question for everybody. When do you want it? You know, you should be diversified, folks. This is why we really promote our split IRA concept. The split IRA concept is so flexible. It includes a platform with Charles Schwab where we can invest your money very safely, or we can take quite a bit of risk if that's what you want to do. But most importantly, we use, in most cases, depending on the size of the account, multiple annuities, plus we encourage you to leave some money in your bank. And what we do as the retirement planning specialist is coordinate all that. We let you know when it's okay to spend money out of which bucket and when. When you need money, you call us and we link it to your checking account. We do all of that for you, and we help you determine the when so that you can honestly and kind of openly assess where you are. I like to use the example, I'm picking on Gina a lot. You know, Gina was asking me, her and her husband, neither of them retired obviously. Gina works for me. Her husband still works. And for years, she'd been talking about a boat, this cruiser. You heard all that, didn't you, Aaron? Aaron's been with me a while. Well, finally, I guess it's been a couple of years ago or last year, I can't remember. Finally, and Gina and I were just talking about this, I was encouraging her, Gina, if you really think you can afford that boat, get it now. You know, you're not getting any younger. She talks about the boat slips. Have you heard her tell about some of the folks up there at the boat slips?
Yeah,
like so. This older couple just lives on this little boat. I'm thinking, whoa, man, I'd go crazy on a boat. In a boat slip all week living there, and they tootle around occasionally and go back in the boat slip. But anyway, so, you know, the idea of when to spend the money, when do you want it? Not when do you need it, when do you want it? You know, nobody ever needs a boat, in my opinion. I'm not a big boater, but people like boats, and my thoughts are, you know, if you're going to get a big old cabin cruiser and cruise around these big lakes, you know, better to be doing it in your 50s rather than your 90s, you know. So a couple other things on that whole issue. Maybe you're sitting there going, you know, Tony, I never thought I would say this, but I'm thinking about retiring now that I've been laid off. Or I'm thinking about seeing if I could go on and retire now because I'm so just tired of the rat race. You know, do I have enough money, Tony? Could I pull this off? Well, that's what we're really, really good at. At Tony Walker Financial, we are retirement planning specialists. All we do is try to help people comfortably retire worry-free. Now, how do we do that? We use a 5-step process called the Worry-Free Retirement, and you have the opportunity. Oh, by the way, we've got a great white paper that I just wrote to cover these 5 things. Really interesting in the solution, how the mailbox money is the solution, even during these 5 unprecedented times. To get a copy of that white paper, all you got to do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. It's front and center. Download that thing. It's really, really good. It's well written, easy to read, and hopefully it'll help you emphasize. It emphasizes, and hopefully you might understand better why I'm such a big proponent of what I call mailbox money, a guaranteed income you can never outlive. It's stood the test of all kinds of unprecedented times, folks. So that's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Download the white paper called Understanding the Unprecedented. All right, we're starting to run out of time here. I wanted to thank you again for your time. One more little push, if you don't mind, for the new book, best-selling book, Live Well, Die Broke. It is now on it has been at Amazon, but it's now an ebook, paperback, hardcover book as well. You can get it at Barnes & Noble or any of the major booksellers. Live Well, Die Broke. I think what you're going to find, folks, if you will order that book, you're going to find that, wow, the timing of this book, Tony, I didn't know a coronavirus would hit. I've been working on this thing for over a year, folks, but think about this. This book, Aaron, did you realize this book was released at the end of February? When did we really start finding out about the coronavirus? Probably March is when it got bad,
about
right?
The end of February, 1st of March.
Yeah. So this book, ironically, was released at the same time that unprecedented events have been happening. I didn't predict any of these, don't get me wrong, but this book will help you really get a handle and a better perspective on your money, the limited time on earth we all have to enjoy it, and how to position that money so that we won't run out. Live Well, Die Broke. I encourage you to get a copy of it. And by all means, if you have any questions of me personally, be happy to talk to you by phone, in person, or we could do a quick video chat at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Well, we've enjoyed being with you today. Next week, we'll talk more about money, more about the future, and I'm going to dive into a little bit more of what comes out of these questions on the worry-free retirement. You take care, and between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
Funny, funny, funny what money can do.